Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. If you are new to my channel, hello, I'm Carolyn. It's very nice to meet your digital acquaintance. I like to do DIYs like we're doing today in this video. I also like to do room makeovers or room transfigurations for all my fellow witches out there. If you like those kind of things, please hit the subscribe button and I would love for you to join our online family. Today is a very special video. Why? Because it is the first episode of the Witches Workshop. What you can expect to see out of this series are DIYs on a much smaller scale than what I normally do. DIY crafts, DIY Mickey ears, which is what we're going to be doing today. We're actually going to be making these ears today. And yes, they are Evil Queen themed. I'm not a Death Eater, nor am I evil. In addition to these ears being super sparkly, they also happen to glow in the dark. I'm going to show you step by step how I made these ears. But this is going to be a bit of an intermediate DIY since I will be using a sewing machine and my Cricut machine. For those of you who don't know, I opened up my own Etsy shop where I make Mickey ears. I also make a bunch of other magical accessories, but let's get started on these ears. Let's begin with all our magical materials. You will need a few different fabrics, purple, red, and maybe some black. You can use whatever you like. I just prefer velvets and sequins because they're shiny. You will also need some various trims. I don't end up using all of these, I just pulled out what I thought would go well. You will need something to line the inside of your headband like this braided trim, but you can use ribbon instead if you'd like. I also used some red rhinestones and this glow-in-the-dark iron-on vinyl, but feel free to use any color you want, or even felt works as well. You'll need a hot glue gun and some glue sticks, gold and white glitter craft foam for decorating, thicker craft foam, and polyfill batting for the inside of your ears. Take a pen and something circular and draw 4 circles onto your fabric. I'm just going to use this foam template I made a while back, but you can use anything. Just make sure it's a bit bigger than the size you actually want your ears, so you have some leeway when you sew them. You'll notice that I actually have 4 circles drawn on this purple velvet, but I didn't cut all 4 out. And that's because I forgot that I planned to do 1 ear purple for the Evil Queen's dress and 1 ear red for the poison apple. So I'm just going to draw 2 more circles onto this red velvet and cut them out. Now you can skip this step altogether if you'd like, but I just love the way my ears turn out when I cover the headband with fabric. I'm just taking my headband and rolling it across the fabric to determine how long I need it to be, then cutting it out. To add a drop of hot glue to the end of your headband so you can attach that fabric strip that you just cut out. Then stretch it across the top of your headband and glue the other side. If your strip is a little long, just cut off the excess. You will notice that you now have these little flaps at the end of your headband. You're just going to cut them off, just the inside that is, just the inside. This prevents any bulky folds that might give you a headache later on. Once you're finished, trim down the sides of your fabric just a little bit so it's nice and even when you glue it down. Now that the fabric is pretty much even all around, you're going to add some hot glue to the inside of your headband and fold it down little by little. Sparkly, I love it. Okay, so now one last thing for the perfectionists. Take a braided trim or a ribbon and glue it to the inside of your headband to hide the fold line created by the fabric. This is so cute even on its own, but let's move on to the sewing portion. There is this misconception that I am some master seamstress because I have an Etsy shop with a lot of items that require sewing, but this is how you know I'm a noob because I cannot sew a circle. This little attachment does all the work for me. It screws into my machine and I can use the sliding gear to choose any circumference I want. Grab the circles you cut out earlier and place them on top of each other with the nice sides facing in. Now how this thing works is it comes with this little tack that you pierce through the center of your fabric, then clip it into the teeny little hole on the circle attachment. I've never had any issues with this creating an ugly hole in my fabric because the fibers normally just fall back into place. Like I said, this attachment really does all the work for you. All you need to do is make sure your fabric stays flat by gently holding it down, but still allowing it to pass through the needle. Make sure you don't sew an entire perfect circle because you will need a little opening so you can flip it inside out and also stuff it with the batting later on. Clip in your other fabric and repeat the process. Next step is to trim off the excess, but remember not to cut off too much because if you do, your threads will just come undone when you flip it inside out. Now we're actually getting a visual for our ears. Okay, next step is the inserts. Take your thicker craft foam and a circular item. I'm just going to use the bottom of this sequin trim, but any round object will work. Once you have traced your circle, take your guide and move it down to the bottom of your circle to create this sort of crescent shape. The purpose of this is so that the curve lays nicely against the top of your headband once we glue them on. Take the insert you just made, then trace it to create another for your second ear. We want our ears to be soft and plush, so we're going to stuff it with some batting. Using the insert you just cut out, place it on top of the batting and cut around it so you get that same crescent shape. This will give your ears that really nice, even, round look without looking lumpy. I usually like my ears to have 4 layers of batting on each side of the foam insert. So what I mean by that is you're essentially creating a sandwich inside the ear. 4 layers of batting, foam insert, then 4 layers of batting. Take your empty fabric ear and foam insert and fold the insert like a taco. Then carefully stuff it in. Now grab 4 layers of batting and stuff it in on one side of the insert, using your fingers to smooth it out to the edge until flat. Now repeat the process on the other side. Before I seal off the end with some hot glue, I'm just going to use these push pins to help me hold the fabric down tight. Take one end of the fabric, pull it and tuck it into the opposite side, hiding any raw edges. Take the other end, fold it in, then fold it down, nice and tight before pinning it down. Now that you have it pinned, it's going to be a lot easier to hot glue it shut. Once the sides are dry, pull out the pin and glue the middle. Voila! 2 fluffy ears ready to take their place on that very pretty headband that you made earlier. I know some people like to have about a 1.5 to 2 inch gap between their ears, but honestly, I just eyeball it by placing it on the table, then hot glue them on. If your ears are wobbly, keep adding glue little by little and hold the ears down until they are dry. Wow, looking good. Now we're ready for the fun part, decorating. For this first part, I'm just going to pull out my laptop and find some Evil Queen images to cut out with the Cricut Design app. Since I am an Etsy shop owner, I like to shop for images on Etsy. You will need to search for an SVG file. I have no clue what that stands for, I just know that those are cut files that already have a transparent background and are ready to drop into Cricut Design Space. For my iron on vinyl images, I chose this poison apple and this Evil Queen quote. Using my Cricut once again, I'm going to do the same with this gold glitter craft foam to cut out her crown. If you would like a more in-depth tutorial on how to use my Cricut machine, let me know in the comments below. I actually cut out 2 of the same crown image so that I can glue them back to back. This way it looks sparkly in the front and the back. I also cut out a much smaller crown to glue onto the front to create this layered look. It just makes it look more legit and high quality. Taking some gold rope trim, I'm just going to glue this around the bottom edge of the ears to hide any messy hot glue marks and also to represent the Queen's tassel belt. crown you made earlier and gently round it in. So when you glue it on, the bottom will sit on top of the headband nicely. I'm not a fan of this raw bottom edge of the crown, so I'm just going to cover it with this pretty gold sequin trim. Don't forget to glam it up with your red rhinestones. I was so happy when I discovered these heart-shaped ones in my craft room. Now that our queen has her crown and her poison apple, she needs her outfit. So taking a black fabric, I'm just using the sequin fabric because I find it to be quite flexible, which makes it easier to lay it flat onto the ears. I am attempting to recreate the little triangular head cover that she wears. I think it's called a balaclava? I don't know. Let me know in the comments. With some sparkly white craft foam, I'm going to cut a small square, then fold it in half. Then cut out a triangular image, so when I open it up, it's this V kind of shape. This little piece is not only to cover up the raw edges of the sequin fabric, but to represent the queen's high collar. My camera cut off, but after gluing the collar on, I added a heart gem and black sequin trim for the finishing touches. I really love how these ears turned out. I totally dig the glow-in-the-dark images. This would be such a fun accessory for the parks at night. Thank you all so much for watching. Please like, comment below if you would like more Mickey ear tutorials, subscribe, and hit the bell so you can be notified for new videos every week. Also, please share with someone you'd like to inspire. See you next time. Bye!